Hi everyone, I'm Camry. Welcome to my YouTube channel, Youth Like You, the podcast show. Thank you so much for watching this episode. I hope you enjoy. Okay, so we finished Genesis chapter 6, and we are going to be in Genesis chapter 7. And mostly we will be doing the ESV version. If I happen to forget that I switched to a version, I'm sorry about that. Generally, I go back between the ESV and the King James version. Very rarely will I introduce a different version of the Bible. So if I forget to mention which one I'm in, if you start hearing a lot of these and thous, that's the King James version. All right, as you can see, we are in Genesis chapter 7, starting in verse 1, using the ESV version. So there we go. All right, let's see what it says. Then the Lord said to Noah, "Go into the ark, you and all your household, for I have seen that you are righteous before me in this generation. Take with you 7 pairs of all clean animals, male and his mate, and a pair of the animals that are not clean, male and his mate," so male and female, "and 7 pairs of the birds of the heavens, also male and female, to keep their offspring alive on the face of all the earth. For in 7 days I will send rain on the earth 40 days and 40 nights, and every living thing that I have made I will blot out from the face of the ground." And Noah did, verse 5, and Noah did all that the Lord had commanded him. All right, let's start unpacking what this says here. So God told Noah to build an ark, and he did. It took him about 100 years to build that ark, but he was faithful. He did what the Lord had commanded him to do. And this for us, I believe, is important because no matter how long it takes, we need to do what God has called us to do, what he has given us to do, our purpose, our calling, our destiny, the command upon our lives. We need to fulfill it. Maybe Noah thought this is going to be something that maybe takes 50 years. I don't know. I don't know what he thought, but we see that it took 100 years. And in all that time, he was faithful to do what he had been asked to do. And we really need to learn that even though the promise tarries, even though we don't see happening yet what God said was going to happen, God told Noah there's going to be a flood. I'm going to destroy all of mankind. I'm going to destroy the animals. However, there's going to be a remnant. You're going to take your family on the ark with you. You're going to take a certain amount of animals with you on the ark. So he's going to preserve a certain number. But we see that Noah continued to be faithful, even though he didn't see any signs of rain, even though he didn't see that, oh, it looks like a flood's going to happen here any minute. No, despite what his physical eyes couldn't see, he held on to what his heart knew, which was that God had given him a task to do, and he was going to be faithful to fulfill it. And again, we see 2 times in chapter 6 and chapter 7 that it is written of Noah that he did all that God had commanded him to do. And then we also see that now God is going to be more specific. He said, in 7 days, I am going to send the rains. And how long is this going to take? He said 40 days and 40 nights. So we do see that God is specific, that God does give details, but not in our timing, not when we want them, but when it's the right timing for that to be revealed. Do you think it would have been how do you think things would have gone if God told Noah, okay, in 100 years plus 7 days, that's when I'm going to send the rain? Well, I'm going to put myself in Noah's position and I'm going to think about what I would have done. Had God told me in 100 years and 7 days, it's going to start to rain, I'm going to send the judgment, I probably would have started building probably in year 92. because I've been like, oh, I have plenty of time. I have plenty of time to put into action what God has called me to do. Doesn't this sound familiar to you? How many times have we said, okay, but not right now? How many times have we been on our hands and knees praying, crying out to God? He gives us the answer, and then we're like, okay, awesome. And then we're chill about it. We don't put into action. We don't take the faith that has been given to us and we do something with it. I believe it's in the book of James that talks about faith without works, faith without action, faith without motion is dead. It's nothing. There's going to be no fruit. It's zero. We need to put into action what God has given to us. We don't have to know the timeline. Yes, it's nice. As humans, we like to know what the timeline is. We like to have things laid out for us and put into order. But God doesn't always do that. Many times he just says, like he did with Abraham, get out of your hometown and go to the land that I'm going to show you. He didn't say, yeah, you're going to be this long in the desert. You're going to be doing this. You're going to be doing that. He just said, just go. He had a word of faith and put it into action. And that's what we have to do. When God tells us to do something, when God calls us into something, we need to begin to act. We need to begin to prepare. We need to begin to move forward so that God continues to work in us. Think about a ship. A ship can be designed by the best designer of someone who makes ships. It can have the best crew, the best captain. It can be the most seaworthy vessel that there ever was. But if that ship stays in port, it's of no use. It looks beautiful, but it's just wasting away. You need to set sail. You need to turn on its motors or, pull up the anchor and start moving forward. And then as the ship is being moved, as the ship is no longer in a standstill position, now it can be navigated. Now it can be moved into the direction that it needs to be headed towards. We can't just receive from God and stay where we are. We have to put into action what God has given to us. For there to be results in our life, for there to be fruit, for us to see progression, for us to see maturity, growth, we have to be moving forward. We can't be lukewarm Christians. We can't be people who are just sitting on the fence and saying, well, maybe, I'm a little bit here, a little bit there. It doesn't work that way. You're all in or you're not. There's no team player in any football, basketball, soccer, whatever sport that involves like a lot of people, because I'm not talking about checkers, that's only 2 people. But you can't have in a sport like soccer or football a team member who is not fully dedicated to the team. If they're like, you know what, today I'll play with you guys, but next week I'm going to be playing with the opposite team. Their team isn't going to accept that. If they're in a championship, they are in these playoffs. They don't want a team member who's wishy-washy. They want a team member who's fully dedicated to their cause, who's fully dedicated to the team. We can't be Christians who are like, well, I'm 1 foot in the world, 1 foot in the kingdom of God. It doesn't work that way. And many, many people wish it worked. Many people wish it would work like that, but it doesn't. It doesn't work like that. God says it's all your heart. He wants all of it, not a piece of it, not 30%, 60%, or 70%. He wants 100% of us. He gave his 100% for us. We should give our 100% for him. He held nothing back. The Father gave his only begotten Son for us. Jesus Christ suffered, went through very hard, difficult experiences, all to bring us back into reconciliation with the Father. It is through Jesus Christ that we get to know the Father. It is through Jesus Christ that we are saved. It is through Jesus Christ that we inherit the promises, that we get to be, when we qualify, for what he has for us, when we continue to be in his word, we qualify for so much of what he has ordained for us if we will accept it, we will be wholeheartedly for him. Noah was given the word of salvation. He was given that gift, but Noah had to act on it in order to receive it. Noah had to build the ark. Noah had to go and chop down the trees, and they didn't have chainsaws. They didn't have any type of machinery that we have today. Everything was by hand. He and his sons had to work for 100 years to bring to pass what God had spoken. God was there orchestrating and ordaining. God was helping him. He was giving him grace. He was giving him provision. But Noah had to do his part. He had to accept and move forward in obedience. Because if he just sat there and just waited and it's like, no, the ark's going to build itself, Noah would not have been saved. His family would not have been saved. And I wouldn't be sitting here talking to you. In fact, you wouldn't be listening to this. None of us would be here, because all of humanity would have been wiped out had Noah not obeyed. Here's something else to look at. What we do affects others in our lives and generations to come. You may think that one night with the guy has no consequences. Your action affects future generations. Your action of deciding to go and end your life because you think that you don't have purpose and you don't have meaning affects the people who love you. It affects the wife you left behind, or the husband you left behind, the children you left behind. What we do affects the people in our lives and the people to come, generations to come, or the generations that didn't get to happen. We have choices that we make that affect not just us, but affect the people around us. There's a famous saying, those who do not learn from history are doomed to repeat it. Why is it so important to learn from other people's mistakes so that we don't make them? So that we can overcome where they failed, so that we can have a better impact upon the world, upon the generations to come, the generation that is here, because we learned from the mistakes of others. Had Noah not been obedient, he would have affected all of humanity. Now, I don't know what God would have done. Maybe I'm sure, because he's a creator and he likes to create, he might have created a totally different creation, but humankind would have been extinct. Our decisions affect people around us and those to come. Think about that. If you begin to realize that your choices and decisions not only affect you, but affect others around you. We're going to end there in Genesis chapter 7. And we read a few verses, but there's a lot to talk about. And we got more things to talk about. But like I said, there's a lot of subjects and a lot of topics. And sometimes you just got to go little by little to talk about and be able to dissect what the Word of God is saying. And I want you to know something. God cares for you. You may not think it, but I'm telling you the truth. Because I've seen it. I've seen how He cares for the widow, for the orphan. I've seen how He cares for that man on the street. I've seen how He reaches out to the hardest of criminals. I've seen how He has changed the heart of a murderer. I've seen how He has brought light to those who are blind and sound to those who are deaf. What He did back then, He can still do again, because He is able. If you believe, if you will accept the gift, and if you will put it into action. Thank you so much for watching. I'm Camry. This is Youth Like You, the podcast show. Until next time, please like, subscribe, and comment and share. All right. See you next time.